Time to go back to the phone. Always a pleasure to talk to my British Columbia sibling. Yes, from Victoria, British Columbia. The former Strikeforce women's bantamweight champion, Sarah Kaufman, on the line. Sarah, I talked to you earlier this week when I got word that you were supposed to challenge Ronda Rousey for the title in August. At the time, you said you hadn't heard anything yet. What have you heard since then?
I've mostly just heard online that we'll be fighting in August, and I'm waiting to hear a date specifically from Strikeforce, and I'm excited to hear that date because I need to get back in the cage and I need to get that title back. Now,
while you haven't heard anything from Strikeforce yet, you've heard a lot from Ronda Rousey, right?
She is a talker, that's for sure, and I think it's Ronda's way of trying to get in people's heads and try and hype a fight in the way that she feels is the only way, and that's to talk really tough. And I find it really funny for the most part. And I'm not a trash talker, and I will, I'm not going to get pulled into a trash talking game because I definitely would come out looking ridiculous because I just don't have it in me.
So when you hear her say what she does, and there is obviously, and you are no dummy, that's for sure, very intelligent young lady, as is, I think, Ronda Rousey, a very intelligent young lady, and there is the psychology being played. So what do you think then of the prospect about it? It seems like it will eventually go down. A lot of people felt that, maybe you should have gotten the shot at regaining your title against Miesha Tate instead of Ronda Rousey. That's all water under the bridge. She is, proving to be a dominant force thus far. What do you make of the Ronda Rousey hype train, so to speak?
As far as I'm concerned, Ronda has put on some great performances in her first 5 fights, and the only kind of real challenge was her last fight with Miesha, and and she got put in some really poor positions and managed to get out of them, and she showed a lot of things in that fight, but ultimately, she hasn't been tested on the feet whatsoever at all. Miesha just ran at her, and I think part of that was Ronda really got in Miesha's head and made it an emotional fight, and Miesha was fighting from that place of pure emotion, and it definitely got the better of her.
Why will things be different if and when you step into the cage against Ronda Rousey? You say she hasn't been tested in the striking department. You are considered one of the best strikers in the sport. Knowing that, how will you make sure that that's exactly, what I mean? How are you going to be able to impose not only your skill, but your will?
I actually think that Ronda, despite her tough talk, I really feel like, she didn't want to fight me before she wanted to fight Miesha. She really wanted that title, knowing that Miesha was going to be stylistically a much easier fight for her. And I think that she's really going to have to train hard for this fight. And I don't know who she's going to bring in to try and imitate me, but people know what I do, and most people can't deal with it. So it's I'm just going to come in there, and I'm going to fight as I'm going to fight. I'm going to tell the truth in how I feel about Ronda and how I feel about how the fight's going to go down. And I really believe that it is going to be it's going to be her having trouble trying to latch on and take me down.
In your 16-fight career, you have already delivered many memorable moments to the sport of MMA, and you are coming off one of the best fights, if not the best action fight in female MMA history against compatriot Alexis Davis. It was your second go-round with Davis. You actually handed her first loss very early in her career. Things a little different this time around, Sarah, and I'm wondering, we all enjoyed it immensely. Did you enjoy the fight?
I was the first time that I would say that I was kind of in a fight, and that is fun for me. And as I'm in the fight, you get caught up in just swinging, and that's fun. That's
why is it fun, Sarah? And I mean that honestly. You're a very humble person. You could have been anything you wanted, a doctor, a lawyer. You have that kind of intelligence. I know that. Why is that kind of action where you guys are beating each other to a pulp fun? Tell me the mental, I need to understand this a little more.
For me, fighting is, it's a mental game, it's a physical game, and it's just the fact that you can go in there and not know what's going to happen, and it's just exhilarating. It's not the fact that you're hitting someone in the face or kicking them or, that you're fighting with them. It really is the fact that you're going to compete in a sport. And it's a sport where you really matter, and you can train, and you of course have to have your team behind you to get where you are. But once it's happening, it's just such a natural, kind of primal thing to have one-on-one competition at such a high level.
Your opponent that night is actually going to be in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament in Long Beach, California this weekend. Alexis Davis grappling with none other than Kira Gracie. I know that Davis has done a lot of grappling, and she told me, too, after the fight, despite losing, she said that was fun, and she always said the key against you was to make sure she moved her head and not get caught up in a fistic fireworks display. But how much more respect do you have for Davis now, and how do you think she'll do against Gracie this weekend in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
I've always had respect for Alexis, and I think I was one of the few people who really knew that going into that fight it was going to be a tough fight. I think people look at a record and they say, oh, well, it's a no-brainer. You're going to take this fight. You fought before. You've fought a lot of people. Easy fight for you, and then you go into the title. And I knew that it was going to be a tough fight, and I have a lot of respect for Alexis, and I really hope that she does well in the sport and that she's continued to be promoted, through Strikeforce and through other organizations if that's the case.
Can she beat Kira Gracie this weekend in a grappling match?
I hope for her case, and I really hope that she does. I know that Kira is really slick on the ground, and I haven't had the opportunity to roll in a gi with Alexis. And the gi does change things a lot.
Do you dislike Ronda Rousey? Last word.
Do I dislike her? As an athlete, no. As a person, no. How she carries herself, and the need to kind of trash talk, a little bit.
Former Strikeforce women's bantamweight champion Sarah Kaufman unable to confirm that she will challenge Ronda Rousey in August, but that seems to be the word. And when you find out, I'm sure we'll already know, maybe, Sarah. I'm just kidding. All the best to you. Thanks a lot for this, and good luck when we finally get you back in the Strikeforce cage.
Thanks so much, Mauro.
Thank you very much. And